Before we get started, I'd like to pass along this information. Tours are once again open on the Battleship Texas, Sundays only, and you have to get your ticket on their website. That would be battleshiptexas.org. The tours are $75 a piece, are expected to last about 1 to 1.5 hours. During the dry dock tours, you are not allowed to take video. In the current tours, you will be allowed to take video. Also, the clothing requirements are long sleeves, long pants, good walking shoes, no open toes, and the Battleship Texas Foundation will be providing hard hats and safety glasses. The tours will not be handicap accessible. There will be stair climbing and multiple obstacles that must be walked around. The tickets are $75 per head. Now make real sure that you read all of their restrictions and requirements, because I'm sure I did not cover everything. Now, if for any reason whatsoever you yourself are unable to take a tour, you know where to go because you're there right now. Just simply make sure you're subscribed, and when I take my tour, you know that video will be posted. And I will probably be taking more than one tour, just depending on how long these tours are conducted. All right, now that I've done my little PR bit for the Battleship Texas Foundation, let's get on with this video. You'll be watching video of the ship as she currently stands on November 7th, 2024, and listening to the most current news articles I have been able to locate. All right, roll it, Winchester McGee.
It was a wake-up call. Port of Galveston CEO talks Battleship Texas future. Parties to continue discussing possible future homes at Monday's Special Wharves Board meeting. By Chris Gray, Cron's Gulf Coast reporter, November 1, 2024. Neither side wants to see the Battleship Texas leave Galveston, Galveston Wharves Port Director and CEO Roger Rees said last week. However, the parties negotiating a long-term lease for the 112-year-old U.S. Navy warship had reached a stalemate. It was more almost, wait a minute here, we're not getting anywhere, he said last Friday, characterizing the board's point of view. We're spending a lot of time and let's just punt at this stage. So on October 22nd, the Wharves Board voted unanimously to end negotiations, for now, with the Battleship Texas Foundation, citing a handful of unresolved issues with the operating agreement the two parties had been negotiating for a year. The vote signaled the end of a chapter but hardly brought the curtain down on the saga. I think it was kind of a wake-up call more than anything, Rees said. Friday afternoon, the foundation announced the Wharves Board has called a special meeting for Monday, where it will continue to discuss the ship's future. The Battleship Foundation looks forward to Monday's special meeting called by the Wharves Board to resume the conversation for a possible agreement for berthing the Battleship Texas at a location under the control of the board, the foundation said in a statement. We see this as an opportunity to find the ideal home for the Texas for both Galveston and the ship. Technically, the USS Texas belongs to Texas Parks and Wildlife, which granted the foundation a 99-year lease in 2019. According to Rees, the length of the proposed lease with the port was one of the Wharves Board's main sticking points. Concerned about the foundation's long-term financial ability to maintain the ship, trustees pushed for a modest 10-year lease with an option to renew. The foundation favored a term closer to 40 or 50 years. I get that. They're looking for a home, Rees said. Nobody wants to have to move this thing again. As proposed, the operating agreement would have allowed the foundation to dock the USS Texas around Piers 19 to 21. That location became controversial over the summer, after the neighboring Katie's Seafood Restaurant and Market started a petition urging the port to move the ship elsewhere, claiming mooring it there would cut off Katie's picturesque view of the harbor. But the board is far more worried about safety than public opinion, Rees maintains. We've seen some drawings, but we haven't seen any engineering specifications that would really indicate the ability to hold the ship in place, he said. The foundation did agree to pay for a third-party engineering firm to evaluate the design for the ship's future moorings, said Rees, and promised to provide the Wharves Board with additional financial information. After the vote, he added, possible investors emerged who were clear that any donation would be contingent on the battleship remaining in Galveston. If it's not in Galveston, then they're probably not interested in investing in it, Rees said. Before the ship can move, the Wharves Board, U.S. Coast Guard, and Army Corps of Engineers must also sign off on the Foundation's mooring plan. The board also wants the Foundation to obtain all state and federal permits, devise a visitor parking plan, and have the Galveston, Texas City Pilots Association confirm that the new location would not interfere with traffic in the waterway. Ongoing dredging currently routes most ship traffic to the south side of the channel, where the battleship would be. That would make mooring the USS Texas securely even more important. Otherwise, it could create what Rees called a bathtub effect. You see a ship go by, you don't necessarily see its wake as a big wave, but it's there, he said. Another possibility is berthing the ship elsewhere at the port. Rees said he spoke to some Foundation board members about that after last week's vote. It would fit at either of the unoccupied slips between the cruise terminals at Piers 10 and 16, he added. But the cruise business is going so well that the port is now considering expanding those terminals to bring in additional ships. The Wharves Board and Foundation have, conservatively, another year to work things out before the battleship is ready to go anywhere. Her local supporters can take heart in the fact that she does seem fated to end up on the island, somewhere. Invested nearly $60 million to protect this true historical monument to American exceptionalism, and she deserves a permanent place where the most Texans as possible visit her every year, Texas State Senator Mays Middleton, Republican Galveston, said on social media 2 days after the vote. Remember, the Foundation has already limited the ship's future home to 6 counties along the upper Texas coast, ruling out Baytown and Beaumont in March 2023. Barring a last-minute play by Texas City, pure speculation on the author's part, Galveston is the only place left in that area with the necessary infrastructure and visitor traffic to make the USS Texas a viable tourist attraction. Meanwhile, the restorations continue. According to the Foundation's website, crews have recently focused on repairing damaged steel on the stern, replacing the wood decking on the bow, and priming the triangle deck area for a new paint job. The Foundation will resume opening the ship for behind-the-scenes guided tours later this month. The November 24th tour is sold out, but Sunday-only spots are available through April 2025.
What to do with Battleship Texas? The board overseeing the Port of Galveston is now reopening talks about that very topic.
Yeah, the 112-year-old Navy ship is currently docked in Galveston, finishing up some pretty extensive renovations. There's been a lot of talk back and forth on exactly where that ship will dock when it reopens. And just a few weeks ago, the Galveston Wharves Board voted to end negotiations to dock the ship at Pier 20. That's a popular tourist area, and businesses had protested the lease, worried about parking, loud machinery, and other issues. Well, today the board met again, reversing their decision, voting now to continue those discussions.
I think Pier 15 is a better location if it's feasible. So the port director and his administration is going to have to do some due diligence to see whether it will work.
So the ship could end up staying local. The board also voted to form a committee to move these negotiations along. For now, the Battleship Texas is set to start restoration tours later this month.